Come to your sacred space and arrive with gentle care, dear Rose Sister. You have moved through much already. The belief that taught you silence, the energy that needed to move and be released. What remains now is so much more subtle. This practice doesn't ask you to go deeper into what has been in the way. It actually invites you into what becomes possible when the way is clear. Sit comfortably. Allow your spine to be gently upright, your hands resting open wherever you like. Gently closing down the eyes as you take a few moments to simply feel the quality of what is present in you after these couple of weeks of practice. Welcoming whatever aliveness, spaciousness, tenderness, or quiet has settled in your body and heart. Inviting a deep breath of loving presence as you acknowledge it. Before anything else, this practice asks you to notice something so habitual, so woven into the fabric of how you relate to expression that it may never have been named before. Bring to mind the last time you wanted to say something that mattered to you. It doesn't need to be dramatic, just simply a moment in which something true in you wanted to be spoken. Without doing anything yet, notice the orientation of that impulse. Where was it directed? Where were you in relation to it? Most likely, and this is not a mistake, it's simply what we have been taught. The impulse had a direction. It was aimed. There was something to be said, and there was somewhere to send it. Towards a person, a situation, into a room, out into the world. Expression, as we have mostly known it, is a form of sending. We gather something from within, we form it into words, and we project it outward. We are the origin, the words the object, the listener, the destination. Let's just run a simple experiment. Speak a word out loud, any word, in the way you habitually speak. Direct it outward toward an imagined listener or simply into the room. And notice how that feels in your body. The subtle directionality of it. Something leaving you, moving away, being sent. Feel that orientation in your body right now. The subtle leaning forward that accompanies the impulse to speak. The gathering, the forming, the directing, the effort of it, even the vulnerability of it. Because when you send something of yourself outward, you must wait to see how it is received, whether it lands, if it's welcomed, if it was worth the risk. Notice how much of the guardedness around your voice lives precisely here in this dynamic of sending and waiting to be received. The throat closes not only because of old wounds, but because the very act of expression, as it has been understood so far, places something of you at the mercy of another's response. And breathe into this recognition. You are not being asked to judge it, simply to see it clearly, perhaps for the first time. Today, now, in a very gentle way, this practice invites you to reconsider this orientation and to open up to another possibility. What if speaking was not primarily an act of sending, but an act of opening? What if the voice, as its most essential aspect, was not something you project outward, but a widening of yourself, a making transparent of the instrument, so that what is true can move through you and be received by life itself? In this orientation, you are not the origin of what is expressed. You are the opening through which it moves. You are not sending. You are becoming available. And what flows through an open instrument is not yours to control, to aim, or to defend. It simply moves. And in moving, it finds in its own way. Let that land in your body for a moment, in your womb, in your heart, in your throat. And feel the difference not as a concept, but as a physical, somatic sensation. The difference between leaning forward to send and resting at your center to open. Let's go deeper into the practice by placing one hand on your womb space, closing your eyes and bringing your full awareness here. Notice that the womb does not speak outwardly. It doesn't project or aim or direct. It speaks from its depths, from the dark, fertile, and hurt place where things are known before they are understood. The womb's intelligence is not sent anywhere. It simply is. Present, rooted, arising from below like water from a deep source. Breathe into this center slowly and fully. Feel its weight, its warmth, its rootedness. Let your awareness descend into it as if you were dropping a stone into still water, all the way down, past the surface of thought and intention, into the quiet knowing that lives at the bottom of your own being. From this depth, notice, is there something that is known here? Not something to be said yet, simply something that is true, that has always been true, that needs no audience to be real. Let it be present without forming it into words. The womb knows. Now draw your awareness upward, slowly, into the heart space. Place your other hand on your chest as you feel the rise and fall of your breath here. Your heart, when it is open, doesn't reach. Reaching implies a gap, something outside of you that you must extend yourself toward in order to touch it. But the open heart does not experience this gap. It simply radiates, the way in which warmth radiates from a fire. in all directions equally, without preference or destination. Is that not choose where to send its warmth? It simply burns, and the warmth moves outwardly as a natural consequence of that burning. Let your heart be like that right now. Not reaching toward anyone or anything. Not even reaching toward the womb below or the throat above. Simply open, present at the center of its own warmth, trusting that what it carries will find its way without being directed. Breathe here for several moments. Feel the womb rooted below and the heart open above, two centers, both available, both speaking in their own language without needing to send anything anywhere. Now bring your awareness into the throat. Feel it as a place where the knowing of the womb and the warmth of the heart naturally arrive, not because they have been forced upward, not because they have gathered them and directed them, but because this is simply the direction the river flows, upward, through. The throat in this practice is not a gate to be opened or a wound to be healed. It is simply a channel, and a channel doesn't produce what flows through it. It only needs to be clear, unobstructed. Place your fingertips lightly on your throat. Feel the pulse of life there. Feel it as if something already open, already available, already willing. Take 3 slow breaths through the full channel, womb, heart, throat, feeling all 3 centers alive and connected as a single, unbroken river of presence. Now, from this centered openness, speak the same word again, not outward, but from the center, from your center. It's not a leaning forward, but an opening, as if the speaking was an act of making yourself more available to life, to the one heart, rather than projecting something toward it, as if your voice was a flower opening rather than an arrow released. Notice the difference in the quality of the sound itself and the quality of your expression. Does it feel different in your body, in your gut, in your womb, in your heart, in your throat? Notice how it may leave you not diminished, but somehow more present, more yourself, as if in the speaking you did not give something away, but rather opened to something more encompassing. You're welcome to spend several minutes with this, moving between different words, phrases, or simply open tones, always returning to the quality of center receptivity before you speak. Each time, feel the back body, feel the sphere of open awareness. Feel yourself as a center that speaks not outward but from within wholeness. When you feel established in this orientation, rooted in the womb, open in your heart, transparent at your throat, you are invited to take one step further, a bridge into life. Bring into your awareness someone with whom you share something unspoken. It doesn't need to be a difficult relationship, just simply someone real, present in your life, with whom your voice has sometimes felt guarded or small or redirected. Let their presence become gently real as you imagine them seated across from you. Notice your habitual impulse in relation to them, the subtle leaning forward, the gathering, the forming of what you would want to say, the directing of it toward them, the waiting to see how they receive it. And sense the guardedness that lives in that dynamic even now as you imagine it. And now, without changing anything about what you wish to express, simply shift the orientation entirely. Feel your back body. Feel the space behind your heart, behind your throat, behind your skull. Let your awareness expand in all directions equally until you are not leaning toward them, but resting at the center of a sphere of open, loving presence. Feel the womb rooted below, the heart radiating, not reaching, your throat as a clear, unguarded channel. From this place, speak something true to them, not directed at them, rather spoken from your center into this third, emerging shared space between both of you. Not sent, offered, not aimed, unveiled. Notice what happens in your body, in your womb, in your heart, in your throat, when your expression no longer carries the weight of needing to be received in a particular way. Notice what it feels like to speak to another being from genuine openness rather than from defended sending. Notice whether, paradoxically, you may feel more connected to them, not less, precisely because you are no longer trying to reach them. Rest in the silence that follows. Feel how your voice, when it arises from receptivity rather than from projection, leaves your body not depleted, but somehow more resourced, more regulated, in a natural state. This is sovereign voice, not the loudest, not the most certain, not the most eloquent, but the most open, and therefore the most true. Slowly let the image of the other person dissolve. Return to your own center, womb, heart, throat, alive, clear, connected. Take 3 final breaths through that full channel. Let each exhale be a soft, open sound, not performed, just natural. The breath of an instrument that has remembered what it is for. If you like, place one hand on your heart, another one on your womb. Rest there in the silence of your own rose heart, in the ineffable fragrance of what has just moved through you, replenishing in the echoes of simply opening to life, moving through you unobstructedly. You may remain here as long as it feels nourishing. When there is a sense of completion, let your journal receive whatever wishes to be remembered. Holding you with tender love, sending you many blessings, dear sister.